very much, uh, Arvind ji, Hari Babuji, uh, my friend here, Radhakrishnan ji, everybody present in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. So PSU's summit, which is talking about digital strategy for New India at 75. So to begin with, I must say I'm very happy and very pleased to meet all of you. And the fact that India is such a vast and diverse nation is only when you travel and you see how small countries are performing at various fields and what a large country needs to achieve and what are the challenges. So two things. One, we have large resource in terms of human resource and material resource because we are a large and vast country. The challenge is to manage a large country with so much of diversity and vastness, and how ideas can be transferred and translated and communicated in smaller places, and it becomes a challenge when you're dealing with different stratification of a same society and also different regions of a large country. So whenever we are doing a balancing act, we need to study the pluses, the minuses, and come to strategy to deal with all of them. And one biggest strategy which our government under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi has adopted is very well established through National Mission on Digital Literacy. So National Mission on Digital Literacy, availability of data at the cheapest rate in the world, getting more and more people hooked onto data is one way of dealing with the problems. And whenever I look at many countries, I see what we find a very simple thing, because we've got so used to our scientists, we've got so used to the ease of living that we do not even consider it a challenge. That's the best part. We don't even think it's a problem. So many countries who may even have better per capita income than us were struggling with the processes of record of or application of, say, the vaccine. So COVID-19 showcased what everybody was going through. The whole world was facing this problem, and not to say we with 1.3 billion people were facing the problem also. But during this period when vaccination and keeping a record of such a massive population, managing dates and management systems became a challenge. How do you ensure the vaccine reaches every person? How do you ensure regions become safe? How do you ensure people with certain age group are prioritized over others? How do you set up systems basically? And we came up trumps. We did it. And what all of us, I'm talking about a common Indian like me, a common person, took it for granted that this is how governments need to solve the problem. But is it the way the world solved the problem? Answer is quite clearly no. People are still struggling with the solution. But we solved the problem. And not only we solved the problem, we made it available to the world because the world needed it. We set up the system and we made it available to everyone across. For example, CoWIN app which we made. And we understood the problem that there are many countries which have paucity of resources, but they are friendly countries. And in any case, friendly, unfriendly, everybody needs to use the app to manage their systems because everyone's going through the problem. It's a problem faced by humanity. And India, believing in its philosophy, believing in its ethos of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, wanted to serve the world that, okay, right now it's a crisis situation, business can take a back seat, but we will make it available free of cost to everyone. So CoWIN was made into an open source system available to everyone by Government of India. Now, this, I think, showcases how India is today looked upon by the world. We are very well respected. People know our systems operate. People know we are scientific people, technologically sound people. And the solutions we are going to find are going to be lasting solutions, not one-off solution that it comes like a flip and goes off like a flip. Our vaccines are very well recognized across the globe. So two major things which I noticed whoever I have met across is that India's prowess in digital technologies and India's prowess in pharmaceutical industry is recognized by one and all. Now, in addition to this, I would say what happened, say, in Mission Moon and how ISRO is sending the satellites at less than half the cost any other country of that knowledge and that skill is sending. So ISRO also, the space technology is another place where India produces the best of talent at least of cost, and which indicates the institutions which were established by our forefathers have actually paved the way for India at 75. And when we look at the systems, our journey started in 1951 by just about 5 PSUs, or PSEs as we call it today, just about 5 of them. And today India has not less than 348 PSEs. These institutions, I call them institutions, they may be commercial companies, they are like any other company, public sector, private sector, whatever, but they are companies working under the company law board. There is a department which looks after them. They are there to do business, and money making is one of them for the country, and they have to manage their establishment with rules, regulations, and profit making is the goal. I mean, let's be very clear. While public service is one goal, profit making is also the goal. And that public service, which is entwined with profit making, necessitates the economic growth and development of our country. So PSEs have actually contributed a great deal in an exponential rise of India. PSEs have their own contribution to make, and they have done it so far very, very well. And I just wish and feel that more discrete management had taken place, we would still be better. And that's what the present government is trying to do. Cut the flab, make it trim, and make it operate and work well, understanding the value which PSEs have added to the society, but also understanding how certain systems have brought us down. We could have been much higher, but whatever are the problems, we need to find solutions. One such example, since Hari Babuji is here, I thought I will give that example, and it's a mutual admiration club because I also have huge admiration for him and Arvindji for the kind of work they have done, and I always admire people who have big brains, who are able to deliver for the well-being of the society. So looking at DRDO, for example, this is one organization which had the capacity to produce and do so much more. Now this, the problem we were facing with DRDO, understanding the research capacity, understanding the ability of scientists, understanding the kind of knowledge skills they bring in, but also understanding the problems faced by them, understanding the problems which as a corporate management needs to face up to. So these factories were defense factories were amalgamated, the 41 of them, and this board combined together with 41 factories has been converted into 7 PSUs. So retaining the knowledge and yet cutting the flab and making it operational and viable economically. So making it viable economically uh, is a huge idea which we all need to sustain, because end of the day, the service that PSUs give has to be balanced with the commercial viability impact they will have. And in that setup, I would say at one time, I was just wondering why I have been called for this summit this morning. But I know Radhakrishnan digs a little more research and does a bit more research. I used to be the chair of public sector undertaking, the standing committee on public sector undertaking. So the functionality of many public sector undertaking I have watched very closely, addressed some of the CAG objections, dealt with whole lot of them which were in the wind-up process, whole lot of them which were in the reset mode, as we say, refresh and reset mode. And I think that's where we all need to face up, that this is survival of the fittest, and the fitter you are, more likely to survive. And if PSUs have to retain their edge, and which I pray and wish they do retain their edge, is not because a certain ecosystem is provided to you, but to be in a position to create ecosystem for the country. To be in a position, because you are all in a very special position. And in that special position, certain areas which are of strategic importance, which are of great importance to the country, especially defense, space, power, energy, these spaces, in a way, the state of the state is reflected through the state of PSUs. And that state of state needs to be sharpened, the edges need to be more sharp, and we need to have that method of keeping ourselves updated. When I look at strategies of Digital India at 75, I go back to the dashboard, and again I start searching for things. And I think Digital India has been a huge success. And in Digital India, what has been the field which has been of the highest success has been fintech, the banking. And fintech and banking, the way we have addressed issues, the way we have tried to manage our data, detail, services, coordination, Reserve Bank working systems, governance systems, I think we are as good as it gets. I would say other sectors also need to replicate or do the same methodology application, because I'm amongst the experts. I wouldn't dwell on the details, because these are the people who are experts. But as a policy person, I would say the replication of methodologies of how we have handled fintech is something which is worth emulation. And first, identifying the problem of the sector, then addressing those problems through in-house solutions is what we need to do. Another thing which I felt, and this is not to do with PSUs, this is to do with India's growth story. And in India's growth story, I feel PSUs will always have a very, very big role to play, for the simple reason there are sectors which require massive investments. And these are sectors which may have long-term implication, not necessarily short-term implication. And then Government of India, in one form or the other, will have to step in and act through its PSUs. There could be issues of secrecy. There could be issues of uh, trust, which obviously you can have more with a government network as compared to a private network whose only purpose is um, money making or profit making, which is fine because PSUs also are supposed to do the same, but the service element cannot be eliminated from the PSU psyche. So keeping the service element intact, service to the nation, and it is not just brazen profit making which PSUs can take on. PSUs will have to balance the two goals of profit making alongside service. So because there are duplicity of goals, there will be more balanced approach towards many subjects. So PSUs will always remain relevant, but India at 75, I find at a strategy, and all of you can think about it, uh, what we are missing in the game is the back-end integration of the hardware. And I just hope and pray that whether it is semiconductors, it's chips, or it's servers, or platforms, communication platforms, I think you all need to focus a little more. As of now, we are utilizing what is available to us in the world. We are not really creating our own strength. But I am very hopeful, and not just hopeful, I'm assured in my head and in my sense that if India and Indians decide to do something, there's no going back. Can you imagine in 50s and 60s what charismatic scientists we had, the way we worked on rockets, atomic energy, and so on and so forth, with paucity of funds, and even the technologies we developed, which were far less costlier in terms of launching satellites, etc., as compared to other technologies which were available to the world. I was listening to Hari Babuji when he was talking about R&D. I was just thinking, I said, with so little being made available, we have still done it, and that is our strength. And that doesn't mean we should not invest and keep testing our scientists. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the ingenuity of human mind, the vastness of thinking which we have created, is because there is ingenuity in our thought. And that ingenuity in our thought needs to be strengthened further, because many problems can have shorter solutions. And when resources are there, maybe you'll go the long way. But once you know this resource is very valuable, within this I have to complete my experiment. I guess one's application and sharpness is far superior than others, and I bow before all our scientists who made us reach where we have reached, for all their contribution. And I think today is the day we should remember that also. But was diverting from the subject, coming back to PSUs, I would say that somewhere one aspect which I feel is missing in our larger game, the scientists, the technicians, all very well. But when we are competing with the world at large today, the other system which we need to work at will be the legal systems. And I think we are missing the game. I'm talking not within the country, I'm talking about when we are competing with the world at large. The legal systems which exist right now, we are not competing with them at par. So on one side, scientists will do what scientists know, but you also need legal systems and lawyers to set up those collaborations, the MOUs and others, because I feel that many a times some agreements, things are pretty badly drafted. And IP, we have no concept of IPR. With the result, we make things available so easy to everyone without attaching the cost factor to it. So on one side, this is a very good behavior as a human being, as a person. On the other side, the profiteering goes down because that's where you make your profit from. So there could be a strategic dispensation of IPR in certain cases, but it need not be in every case. There should be a certain markup. And I think the scientists, the lawyers, the creative people all need to sit together to come up with strategies because, of course, the STEM remains very important to greater achievements, but economy and growth need the lateral thinking as well and lateral strategy making as well. And in that lateral strategy making, involvement of lawyers and legal system remains as important. Digital India, the digital prowess, the digitization of spaces, no matter which system, which country one looks at the back end, you'll always find an Indian operating that system. That is our strength. And thus, the Vedic mathematics, the skills which our ancestors possessed, and I always say the rishis, the babas were not just babas who were giving gyans, they were scientists working on problems of the brain and the humanity at large. Because if the value of pi can come from this country, if zero can come from this country, if binomial, trinomial systems can come out of this country, integration, differentiation, trigonometry could come out of this country, the skill of setting up architectural designs could come out of this country. I think we were highly, highly skilled people. And if India needs to progress, we need to go back to our roots, remember them at 75, and work ahead, because we were the largest traders, we were the manufacturing hub, we were the skilled people, we were great scientists. I think go back to the roots, get your confidence back, and allow PSUs to grow in all these strategic fields. And with these words, thank you very much. Be part of the great Indian dream and the Prime Minister's dream of 5 trillion economy very shortly. Thank you. Jai Hind.